The church was silent except for the soft creak of wooden pews and the faint sound of the organ playing in the background. Everyone's eyes turned to the bride as she walked down the aisle, her heart pounding with every step, her hands trembling inside the delicate lace gloves. She had dreamt of this day since she was a little girl, yet something inside her whispered unease. She told herself it was just nerves, the kind every bride felt before stepping into forever. But when she reached the altar, when she finally looked into her groom's eyes, she realized her life was about to change in a way she never could have imagined. Before I take you deeper into this unforgettable moment, I want to pause and ask you something. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of turning pain into strength, then please like this video, subscribe to our channel, HeartNest Tales, and share it with someone who needs to hear this story today. It will mean the world to us and help us continue sharing heart-touching stories with you. The bride's name was Madison, a woman known for her gentle nature and unwavering loyalty. She grew up in a small town, raised by a single mother who worked 2 jobs to give her daughter the best life possible. Madison had always dreamed of building a life filled with love, respect, and simple joys, the kind she never saw her parents share. When she met Ethan, a charming, successful young man from a wealthy family, she thought fate had finally rewarded her patience. Ethan was everything she thought she wanted: confident, charismatic, and ambitious. He swept her off her feet, promising her a future brighter than anything she had ever dared imagine. But as their relationship grew, there were cracks Madison chose not to see. Ethan often belittled her dreams, dismissing her desire to pursue teaching because it wasn't a career for someone with potential like hers. He teased her in front of friends about her simple upbringing, making it sound like a joke, but each jab pierced deeper than she admitted. She told herself it was his way of showing love, that he was simply different, raised in a world she didn't quite belong to. And so, she silenced the small voice inside her that begged her to reconsider. On their wedding day, Madison carried those silences with her as she approached the altar. But nothing could have prepared her for what Ethan did next. Standing before family, friends, and even strangers from his social circle, Ethan smirked as the pastor began to speak. Then, with a loud, mocking laugh, he interrupted, saying, "Can you believe she actually thought she was worthy of me? Look at her, this dress, this whole setup, it's cute, but it's not what I deserve. Honestly, marrying her feels like I'm settling." Gasps filled the room. Madison froze, her cheeks burning with humiliation. She wanted to shrink, to disappear into the marble floor beneath her. Every eye was on her, filled with pity, shock, and whispers of disbelief. Her mother, seated in the front row, clutched her chest in horror. Friends lowered their eyes, too ashamed to meet hers. It was the kind of moment that could destroy someone forever. Madison's first instinct was to run. To flee the church and never look back. But something stopped her. As the organ fell silent and the air grew heavy with judgment, Madison remembered the years she spent sacrificing her own dreams for someone else's approval. She remembered every time Ethan told her she wasn't enough, every time she let herself believe him. And then, for the first time in her life, Madison decided she would not be silenced anymore. Slowly, she straightened her posture, wiping away the tears threatening to spill. The guests leaned forward, expecting her to crumble, to beg, to walk away in shame. Instead, Madison took a deep breath and spoke with a voice that echoed through the church. She thanked everyone for coming, thanked them for being witnesses, not to a wedding, but to her awakening. She told them she had spent years doubting herself, thinking love meant tolerating cruelty, believing that respect was optional if someone claimed to care. And then she turned to Ethan, her once beloved groom, and said with remarkable calm, "You may think I am beneath you. But today, I stand taller than I ever have. Because marrying you would not raise me up, it would bury me." The room went silent again, but this time with awe. Madison lifted her veil, letting it fall to the ground like a symbol of everything she was leaving behind. She walked down the aisle, not as a broken bride, but as a woman reclaiming her worth. Her heels clicked against the marble floor, each step louder than the last, a drumbeat of defiance. Guests stood, not out of pity but respect, some even applauding as she passed. By the time Madison reached the heavy wooden doors of the church, she was no longer a woman abandoned at the altar, she was a survivor who refused to be humiliated any longer. Outside, the sunlight greeted her like an embrace. Her mother rushed to her, tears streaming down her face, but this time they were tears of pride. Madison hugged her tightly and whispered, "I'm free." The days that followed were not easy. Madison faced whispers in town, judgment from those who thought she should have endured, and the haunting memories of betrayal. But instead of retreating, she built herself anew. She pursued her dream of becoming a teacher, pouring her heart into helping children believe in themselves the way she had finally learned to believe in herself. She volunteered at women's shelters, sharing her story with others who felt trapped in cycles of disrespect, reminding them that walking away was not failure but victory. And slowly, life began to bloom again. Madison discovered a strength she never knew she had. She laughed more freely, lived more authentically, and for the first time in years, looked in the mirror and loved the woman staring back. Years later, Madison was invited to speak at a charity gala. As she walked onto the stage in a simple yet elegant gown, she caught sight of Ethan in the crowd. His once proud demeanor had faded, his arrogance replaced with a shadow of regret. Their eyes met for a brief moment, and though memories threatened to resurface, Madison only smiled softly. She had no bitterness left in her, only gratitude for the pain that had shaped her into the woman she had become. She began her speech with the same words she had once spoken at the altar: "Respect is not optional in love. Without it, there is no foundation, no future, no forever." The audience rose to their feet in thunderous applause, many with tears in their eyes. Madison had not only survived humiliation, she had transformed it into hope, into courage, into a story that inspired others to rise above their own heartbreaks. Her journey was a reminder that sometimes the most painful endings are the beginnings we need most. That walking away from what breaks us is the first step toward discovering what makes us whole. And so, the bride who was humiliated at the altar did not end her story in shame. She rewrote it with strength, kindness, and resilience. She showed the world that no one has the power to define our worth except us. And for that, the guests who once sat in shock would never forget the day they saw a bride walk away not as a victim, but as a victor. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to HeartNest Tales, and share it with others. Your support helps us continue spreading messages of resilience, love, and kindness. And before we end, I have a special request for you. Please comment below with the words, "Respect is love," to remind others that true love can never exist without respect.